welcome to the first of what I hope will be a ongoing segment of Level Grind. This is the LevelGrindCast. I am L0, and with me is Pixelated Soul.
Hello.
And what we are going to do here is take a minute from our LPs and just kind of let our viewers know a bit more about us here at Level Grind, because I feel like maybe they want to know more about us, and I just want to, give them a little glimpse into our lives as who we are. So I'll start. My name is Al0. I go by Al083 on some sites. My real name is Albert, and I live in Southern California. I watch YouTube videos, I play video games, I run my channel, and I listen to mainly video game music, but I do listen to different types of things.
So my name is Greg. Online, I used to be known as Saber, but now I go by Pixelated Soul. That sort of became my handle for anything that was video game related, and that's pretty much stuck for at least the past 10 years. I am from Hawaii, and some of the things that I like to do, I'm an artist, first of all. I am a graphic designer by trade, and that's a lot of my appreciation for video games is through the art side of it. Some of my favorite games are because they look so cool. Some other stuff...
That's cool. I share that interest in video game art.
Some other stuff I like to do, I love movies. I love superhero movies, so a lot of my favorite types of movies are the summer fare. So superhero movies, any kind of big action blockbusters, typically I'm interested in. I like rock music, and I like creating art too. So that's like a quick rundown. Cool.
So recently, Level Grind just hit 200 subs, and
Congrats.
Thank you. And I am, when I first started, I didn't think I wouldn't have that many. And I know because I watch YouTubers regularly. They're favorite. I have favorite sites and favorite people that make videos every day, and I watch them. Because I don't watch TV much anymore, I watch mainly YouTube because I feel like YouTube and Twitch are becoming more than what TV offers, because you get seasons of stuff on TV, but YouTube and Twitch you get new content daily,
right? With
no breaks, hardly any breaks. People do go on like vacations and stuff, but there are so many YouTubers out there that you watch something. There'll be something every day for you to watch. So that inspired me to make YouTube videos, and it's been a lot of trial and error from when I first started.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's something every YouTuber learns if they didn't get any help from anyone else, if they didn't know anyone else who did kind of stuff like this. Because I can see how much I've changed from my first videos.
Oh,
where it felt like I was trying too hard. To me, it feels like I've improved greatly. I'm more talkative, and it feels a lot better. And since learning like the programs to make videos, I know a lot of people have always want to know that, but when you finally figure it out, it's great. And like, I have a lot of fun when doing my videos. Right now it's me and Greg. There are other members of Level Grind, like my niece, but she's not here. Or else I would have her here, so she can introduce herself, because she's part of the Unky Time videos,
mm-hmm.
which I have a blast making. They're probably my favorite videos to make on the channel because I have so much fun with her.
And you can
tell in those videos.
It comes through in the video, I think.
Yeah, like I'm having fun, she's having fun, she's laughing, I'm laughing, it's great. So what I want to do with this Level Grind cast is, not this episode, but future episodes we'll have segments where we'll talk about what we're doing currently and stuff in gaming news. But for this first one, I just wanted to give a little glimpse into who we are, and we're going to answer a few questions that we have ready to go. And if you want to send a question to us, there'll be a little segment at the end where I tell you how you can send in a question. If you want to ask us anything via Twitter, then it could be possibly in the next video. Okay, so
Sure.
The first question, what was your first experience with video games?
So the thing is, I do not remember a time where there was no video games in my life. I don't know if it was before I was born or I was just really young. We had the Atari 2600. That's really my first memories of gaming. was the Atari 2600. We had Pac-Man, we had Asteroids. Have you ever heard of a game called Haunted House?
Yep.
It's really bad, but at the time, holy crap.
My first introduction to the Atari 2600 was the Angry Video Game Nerd videos when he did that episode. I think he nailed it when he said the Atari 2600. It was just the right kind of atmosphere. I feel like that kind of nailed it. Like, yeah, that's what you would do as a kid: is play video games, just sitting there, just droning at the TV.
Right. Breakout.
Go ahead, continue.
Breakout was a big game on that system. I had Breakout and Super Breakout. What was really weird, so that, I don't know if have you ever actually played? I still have that system. As far as I know, it's functional.
No, I never had an Atari 2600.
So there's these switches on the system itself. When you plug in the game, you want to change the level. You can hit this other switch over and over. It'll change the level or the difficulty or the mode. And there's a bunch of different
toggle
switches. Yeah. You keep pressing it over and over. It changes the mode and function of the game. It's kind of weird. So, like, say you're playing Breakout. You don't want the first level of the game. You can go to different levels. Then you have your paddle controller where you spin it and you adjust the little disc on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. I remember in the Angry Video Game Nerd video when he was playing Ghostbusters, like when you put in the Atari 2600, it starts you on the menu, and you have to click all your items and then toggle a switch to get to the main screen.
Right.
And he was having such trouble with it. he had to restart.
So growing
really
up,
funny.
My brother bought an NES, my oldest brother, and that's where I learned all the Nintendo games, Super Mario Brothers and stuff. But it wasn't until Super Nintendo that I actually owned a video game system myself. So that was the first true system that I owned that was for me, was Super Nintendo. But growing up, there was always video games around, and it was a huge influence on me. And I really I look back on that as I feel really fortunate to watch this art form develop and grow and mature throughout my entire life. I always stand back and be like, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah. My first experience with video games was, thinking back, I don't know what I did before video games. I can't remember what occupied my time outside, running through the dirt, running through bushes, just be, outdoors. Nowadays, that's a rare thing where kids play outside. But I don't know what I did before then, but I remember going over to one of my parents' friend's house, and they, we were dragged along, and their kids were just playing Super Mario Brothers on the Nintendo, and I just poked my head, and it was like, what's going on here? I just remember seeing it, and I started playing, and it was amazing, and that was the start of my video game life. I remember shortly after we got a Nintendo, I think we got it for Christmas, and of course we got Mario Brothers, we had Duck Hunt with a combo game, and then not long after that we got the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo, and sadly that's where it kind of dropped off. I didn't remember much after Super Nintendo and Sega because I never got a 64. I never, that was too rich for our blood. And I remember the 3DO, and oh man, thank God we didn't get that, because at the time that thing was hundreds of dollars and it just ended up being a piece of crap. So
3DO launched at $700.
Yeah, and no one could afford that. And
the only game worth playing was the arcade perfect version of Super Street Fighter 2.
Yeah,
Terrible.
That game that console just died. And like if you were sad enough to actually have spent the money on it, you did not get your money's worth at all. I mean, you might nowadays, if you have a running version of it, be able to sell it to a collector. Other than that, no. It was just a waste. It was a waste. It was sad. Because I remember seeing the 3DO in The Army Now. If you ever watched that movie, In the Army Now with Pauly Shore, the movie starts with him playing a war game on the 3DO.
Oh, God.
Which looks kind of cool, but no. No, it wasn't great.
Did
It
they
was an
still have
Epic
the
system.
Pac-Man Atari 2600 sound effects to represent the game?
I don't
Remember
know.
when TV shows did that? They'd
Yes.
have the person playing a video game. They just have the Pac-Man sound effects from the Atari. Like,
Yeah.
what?
I still find it funny that nowadays, even with how big gaming culture is, people who don't know video games are still just button mashing. Like, we don't know what they're doing. Like, we know when people are fake playing video games
Yeah.
on, in movies and TV shows, because that's not how you do it. We have good hand-eye coordination for those of us who grew up playing games.
Have you seen the animated GIF of that one kid sitting next to Daigo, just button mashing on the joystick on the arcade stick?
No.
Oh, I just sent that to you. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I gotta check that out. All right, so let's move on to the second question. Go ahead.
So, what is your favorite video game genre?
Favorite video game genre? Well, anyone who knows my channel knows that RPGs are my favorite. I was first introduced to to RPGs via my cousin. I went over to his house, and he was playing Final Fantasy 2 or Final Fantasy 3, which is actually Final Fantasy 6, but in the US version it was 3 on the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing that. He was showing that to me. I thought it looked freaking amazing. And then he put on Breath of Fire 2, and I was like, I need to know these games. I need to know these games with these cool characters, these magic spells, these cool storylines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was that day, but I think it was like the next day I asked my brother, because of course my brother had a lot more friends than I did. So I asked him like if any of his friends have any RPGs, and I had to explain to him what that was because he had never heard that term before. If he knew any friends that have any RPGs, they let me try some out. And then I just remember one day he came in and he just plopped down a whole bunch of Super Nintendo games, and one of them was the very first RPG I ever played, which was Lufia and the Fortress of Doom, which I have been playing on my channel, but I need to get back to that. It's not finished, but I will return to it soon. Don't quite remember any others that were in that list. That was my introduction into the RPG genre, and it's been my favorite ever since, and it will continue to be for the rest of my life, I'm sure.
Wow. I don't think I have a favorite genre. I love a bunch of different types of games. There's certain genres that I just don't touch because I have no interest in them, and that's like real-time strategy games.
Sports.
And
No sports games.
I play sports games.
It'd have to be a very special sports game. Rocket League, can you consider that a sports game?
Yeah, but it's...
That one... Oh, no. I take that back. I love Hot Shots Golf. Love that series.
That's a great game.
But yeah, that's like the only sports series of games
because I'm a sports fan in general. So sports games I've always played like mad in it.
But if you had to pick one genre,
one of my favorite games is Street Fighter, but I wouldn't consider fighting games my favorite genre because I mainly only play Street Fighter, and I love a lot of action games. I love Mario, and I love RPGs as well. I can't pick.
If you're
a favorite.
undecided, it's okay. I mean, if you like them all equally, that's fine. Like I can honestly say that RPGs are my favorite, but of course I do love everything else too, except some sports games. I would say tactical RPGs, but there are some that I do like. So that is something I can't say. So I mainly like everything except some sports games.
Real-time strategy games I never got into them. I don't understand them. I've tried them. They just do not speak to me in any way.
You mean like the point-and-click ones?
Yeah, I tried to play Warcraft once. Didn't stick. The closest I ever got was the Pixel Junk Monsters. Because that game was billed as a real-time strategy game for people who don't like real-time strategy games. And I got hooked on that game. So that worked on me, but it didn't make me jump into other types of that game, other games in that genre. But, I mean, I like a bunch of stuff. So I can't pick a favorite.
No, I feel you. All right, so the next question is, have you ever entered a video game contest?
So what do you mean by this?
Now, like Evo. Have you ever been
like a
to
tournament?
something like... Yeah, like a tournament for anything. For anything that's a video game. Like, if you ever saw The Wizard, did you ever enter a video?
Not where I had to drive somewhere and I was competing against other real people. I have entered some online tournaments. Have you ever played Mario Golf for the N64?
No, I never had an N64. Remember?
Oh. Okay, so
remind me of my pain.
So Mario 64, the Nintendo 64 had Mario Golf, and it was a really good golf game. It was made by the same people who first started the Hot Shots Golf series on PlayStation 1. So within that game, there was a tournament mode, and it let you type in a code for whatever tournament was actually happening on the Nintendo website. You would start the tournament in the game, and then you had to play the 18-hole course as fast as you could, and obviously getting the best score under par as you could. Then when you were finished, it would spit out a code, like a 12-digit code. You type that code into the Nintendo tournament website, and it would add your name to the leaderboard. You'd fill in the fields, and then there'd be a leaderboard. And it would be, this tournament is set to end on this specific day at this specific time. And up until then, you can enter as many codes as you want, and your best score will be the one that's on the board. And using this, I won a Game Boy Color.
Nice.
And I won and I still have it unopened. It's a golf ball and tee set with the Mario Golf logo on it, and Nintendo on all the tees.
That's cool.
So that's as close as I have to ever entering a contest.
But you never entered like an Evo contest?
No.
Or any kind of fighting game contest?
There's never anything like that locally as far as I know.
Okay. Well, I have entered one video game contest, and this is when I was super young, during the Super Nintendo Genesis era, when Blockbuster Video had the video games versus the world. I remember this was a great way for them to rent out their games, because they had two games that you had to play. You had to play NBA Jam, and you had to play Judge Dredd.
Dredd?
Yeah, Judge Dredd on the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis. I forget which one.
This is a licensed game from the Sylvester Stallone movie.
Yep.
Oh,
yep.
God,
it was during the time when Judge Dredd was out. The
was
first
it made
one,
by
not the remake.
Acclaim?
Not the remake. It probably was. So I did good in Judge Dredd, but of course I wasn't into sports games, so I did shit at NBA Jams. So guess what I had to do? I had to rent the
barely
game.
a sports game. It's more of an action game.
But it was fun. It was fun. So I ended up renting NBA Jam and getting good. And I remember there was whenever you went and participated in this contest.
It was made by Acclaim. I just looked it up.
Was it?
Yeah.
You guessed it. And I remember every time you went to go play at the video game contest, you would get a pack of X-Men cards, which are super valuable, I think, by the way, nowadays, because it was the only way to get those.
I have the entire Series 2 of Marvel cards.
Really?
Yeah, including all the holograms.
Yeah, they would give, I think they were just like, you would get like super rare hologram cards in those packs. But, so I got good at Judge Dredd, and I got good at NBA Jam, and I ended up placing in third place at my local Blockbuster. Okay. Had I gotten the second place, I would have gone to San Francisco to compete versus everybody.
They didn't take the top three?
Nope, they took the top
Third
two
place
at each
is always
location.
you're on the pedestal and you place.
I know, it's the bronze, man, and I was not good enough to go. So that was, as far as I remember, the only video game contest that I ever entered. And I would, if Nintendo did something like Video Armageddon from the Wizard, I think that would be freaking amazing, and I would enter every year. I would travel to even if they did it in Universal Studios, because I just went there last year. If they did that again, that would be awesome, and it would have to be like with that big gate that introduces the game, because I don't think there has been a game that's been revealed that had as much hype as that, because the movie introduced a game that we didn't get for like a year and a half. Like,
it wasn't that long.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was. Like, the movie came out in, I think, 89, and the game came out in 91. Yeah, look it up. I know you're doing it.
91 was Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
That's when I got Super Mario World. Release date for North America was February 1990.
That's when Mario 3 came out here?
Yes.
When did The Wizard come out?
The Wizard USA release date December 89. So it came out like 3 months later.
Okay, but still, we were introduced to a game that no one had. We only had Mario Brothers 2.
Right.
We had Super Mario Brothers 2.
Now, granted, those 3 months probably felt like a year and a half.
In kid time, yes.
Yeah.
3 months is like 2 years, okay? You can't show us the new Mario Brothers game and not give it to us right now, because back then there was no internet. We couldn't look up when stuff was coming out. We had to just wait until we went to the video game store, Toys R Us, or whatever was available back then, and then be like, holy crap, there it is.
So
I remember commercials, the commercials for Mario Brothers 3, where it was just everyone chanting Mario. Yeah,
and
exactly.
Zoom out and you see
and zoom out to the world, and it was his face on the world. Yes, I remember.
1 year ago at this time at E3 last year, when they had the Nintendo World Championships, which I don't understand why they're not bringing back. It was so cool.
Yeah, I don't get it. They need that video game contest, man.
I tweeted that I'm watching the Nintendo World Championships. Where is Jenny Lewis?
Oh, really?
And her verified account, it could just be a bot, I don't know, but her verified account liked and retweeted it. That tweet. So I figured that they would have brought back the
well, I know that the cast of The Wizard, or they have like reunions like every year, I think.
Do they? Really?
I heard something about it.
So Jenny Lewis
to be fair, I did hear about it in the Angry Video Game Nerds video of The Wizard, where he said they have reunions of it. I don't know if it's every year, but hey, I'm sure someone might correct us in the comments.
So what do you have a favorite game of all time, and what is the worst, in your opinion, the worst game you've ever played? So what are your both ends of the spectrum there?
Well, much like your answer to the genre one, to have a favorite game is hard because there's so many out there. But if I had to like name one that I played like a lot, it would have to be Chrono Trigger. I had that. If I had known how rare it would be, I would still have it. But unfortunately, I still only have the box art, the box that it came with. It's very like fragile. Because I'm a kid and I took off the ends and I didn't know any better. But I still have the manual and I still have the map and the posters that came with it. But I played that one to death, and I've more than like quadruple dipped in that game. Like I bought it on Super Nintendo, I bought it on the Wii Virtual Console, I had bought it on PlayStation, the physical and the PSN digital copy. I bought the DS version, which is the definitive
like
version.
The worst one though? The PS1 version.
The PS1 version is the worst one
because it's poorly emulated.
The load times. The load times are horrendous. Like you press the menu, and it takes like 10 seconds to get to your menu, and then when you go out, it's another like
really 10 seconds.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah,
that's unplayable in my opinion.
It's It's if you can. Okay. So if you put up with that...
Because it's an RPG, and by default, you're going to put in 30 to 60 hours.
Yeah, but people who stuck through it, you know, they learned that they had to go to the menu only when they needed to.
Oh.
So, because it'd be such long load times. But yeah, the PS1 version was the worst of them. But the definitive one is the DS version, and I would buy that again. I would for the 8th time. I would buy it if it came to the Wii U, you know, Virtual Console.
Yeah.
As a port to the Wii U, I would buy that because the DS one is the definitive one. It has the PlayStation 1 cutscenes. It has no load times. It looks great, and it has the side stories that kind of tie it to Chrono Cross. So that would probably be my favorite. So what did you want to say?
I was gonna say So I've never finished this game. How I've played it. Was the DS?
You've never finished Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger?
I've never finished it. I have it on the DS. I never finished
Oh
it.
my god. Oh, where did you get to? Do you remember where you even left off?
I don't even know. I mean, I could.
Oh my god, because I could, if you even just name something that's like what I can recognize, I could tell you because I played that game so much.
I'm probably like 5 minutes from the end or something. But I know.
Did you get the Epoch? Did you get the flying ship?
I don't even remember.
Oh my god!
If I would have started playing it right now, I'd probably have to start
you would have remembered. You probably would have remembered. But no, okay. So you need to get on that, bro. But the worst game I've ever played, where like I bought it or I got it and like never touched it again after I played it.
I mean, up to you how you want to define it.
Well, the only thing that comes to mind was a Super Nintendo game called Batman Forever. And I laughed because Kristen did it on one of her Two Girls One Game, and I found that hilarious. And Angry Video Game Nerd did it too.
Was that on Super Nintendo too?
Yeah.
God,
it was only on Super Nintendo.
Was that a claim?
It was, yes, because it's Batman Forever is like a clone of Mortal Kombat.
It was a clone.
But that's side scrolling. It's so stupid. So I never like really cared for Batman, but I loved the second game. You know, it was like a beat 'em up and it was awesome. So I thought, okay, maybe Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo. I played it to death on my cousin's console because he had it, but I didn't. So I thought, okay, Batman Forever. I liked it back then. It's an okay movie. Inferior to the first two, but it was okay. And I thought, okay,
Jim Carrey, man.
Yeah, but so we got the game, and I brought it, and I never got past the first screen.
Really?
Because of the way you platform or the way you switch like layers in that game is so stupid, so ridiculous that I keep mentioning the Angry Video Game Nerd, and because that guy, like, I love that guy to death. Like, he's one of the first guys that ever inspired me to do videos like these.
Yeah.
But he's just like, why are basic functions of the game like doing a cheat code? He's like, because he's like, you gotta press select slightly before you press up while holding R1 and
select as a gameplay button.
Yeah, you need to watch that video, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like select a button, it shoots like this grapple thing that looks like he's shooting it out of his crotch, and like he could only shoot it straight up if you press it slightly before you press up, which was a problem because if you pressed up jumped, and so I never got past that. So I never got past that first layer in the first map.
I'm done with this.
And pretty much. I don't even know where that game is. I probably smashed it and threw it away because it was so bad.
All right, so here we're talking pre-Arkham City or Arkham Asylum days.
Yes, right? These are pre-good Batman games.
The good Batman games are Batman for the NES, based on the original '89 version.
Never played it, but
it's a good solid action. And
it's like Ninja Gaiden. And
it's really tough. It's really hard, but Sunsoft made it. It's got really good music, and the animation of Batman as he falls and while he runs, his cape looks really cool. And that's all you need in it. That's the foundation of a good side scroller.
Yeah,
or a good action game.
Yeah,
and
that's why a lot of people do retro graphics because they still look great.
Another good Batman game, and on the Super Nintendo, I believe it was The Adventures of Batman and Robin by Konami, based on the cartoon.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's a pretty solid action.
It looked like
game.
it looked like as I said.
I want to make sure that's the right title. Okay, yeah. So it is The Adventures of Batman and Robin.
I know what you're talking about. I know what it looks like.
So as far as I know, those are the two best Batman games for the old school systems.
The worst one is Batman Forever, and yeah, he said it. You know, Batman Forever. It sucked back then, and it will suck forever.
I want to say Batman Returns had pretty decent games. based on it, but I never played them, so I can't be sure.
I only played the Super Nintendo beat 'em up one, and that game was
Yeah.
fun. I played that. I loved that game. You know, because it goes back to like the beat 'em ups that you play, like Final Fight and Streets of Rage. Those were good. You know, beat 'em ups. I played them.
The Sega CD version had a driving section. I remember seeing that in old video game magazines like EGM and stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember seeing that in the Sega CD. Like Batman had like good. It used good graphics at the time, but I don't know what was past that first driving level.
Yeah.
So that was my worst game ever and my favorite game. So what's yours?
So I mean, like you said, it's hard to pick one, but I'm just gonna go back to a game that I always return to, and that's Street Fighter.
That's your favorite game of all time?
Well, it's certainly my favorite franchise, probably. But if I picked my favorite Street Fighter, by going by the logic, like, this is my favorite franchise, here's my favorite game in that franchise, I'm going to say Street Fighter Alpha 2. And this is, a lot of it is from a purely aesthetical point of view, because that era of Capcom's one of my favorite companies, period. So that era where they had a consistent art style across all their games, from Marvel vs. Capcom to Street Fighter to Darkstalkers, it's absolutely some of my favorite video game art ever produced. Street Fighter Alpha 2 has some of my favorite stages in a fighting game. I would say my favorite would be Gen's stage, where it's like a back alley all in the dark, and what made it so cool was there was a puddle in the stage, and when you walked over the puddle, it would show the reflection of your character, so basically double the sprite amount on the stage. And the music is really good.
Now the Alpha series, that was because I listened to another podcast in which all the guys are very into the fighting genre, the Super Best Friends.
Okay.
And I remember them talking about how, like, at one point Street Fighter split into, like, one was a fast fighting series, the other one slowed it down. I think it was like the Alpha, and the other one was I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember that there was like two separate Street Fighter game series that were going on. One was slow, one was faster.
It must have been the Street Fighter EX series. It's sort of an offshoot. It's not Capcom published it, but it was made by a different team. I guess that was the fast version. It's a really weird feeling. It's actually a lot of Street Fighter 4 is in that game, of what became Street Fighter 4. There's a lot of that kind of floatiness a little bit.
I just remember them,
because it was polygonal graphics.
Yeah,
and it was pseudo 3D. It wasn't quite 3D. You could sort of sidestep, but that game had Skullomania, and any game with Skullomania is pretty good.
Yeah. I just remember hearing, like, the differences. One was a slower Street Fighter, the other one was like a more fast paced.
Well, I wouldn't consider the Alpha games slow, though. I mean, I guess they had their own pace.
I know the graphics were different drastically, right?
Yeah, they went with this more of an anime cartoonish look, and that appealed to me. And it's absolutely my favorite era of Capcom. I'm not that good at those games, but they're so much fun to play. There's so many systems within that game, or that whole series. I'm just not familiar. I can't play that game at a high level, but from an aesthetic standpoint, it's peak Capcom for me. So much so that I have there's a website called Cook and Becker, and they do video game art prints, and they recently partnered up with Capcom to release limited edition prints of their artwork. And I have, right over my desk, I'm looking at it right now, I have a giant framed poster print of but basically is the cover of Street Fighter Alpha 2. It's got Ryu on the left and Akuma on the right, staring each other down. and it's got a faded version of Sakura in the back. And that's the Street Fighter Alpha 2 artwork, because that's my favorite Street Fighter Alpha game of my favorite series. So.
All right.
So Street Fighter Alpha 2 for my quote-unquote favorite game of all time.
What was your worst?
So my worst game, and this goes back to when I was a kid, and I can't really tell you much about it, because I was just, even as a kid with probably ignorant tastes, I knew this was bad. It's for the NES. I believe it was from Broderbund. Is a game called Deadly Towers.
I know what that is.
This game
I know what that is.
Awful.
I know exactly what that is.
It's got some of the worst graphics you could imagine. And it's
you don't even have to explain. And anyone listening can look it up.
Blue guy.
And I say look up the AVGN video of it. But yeah, it's
Is he? See, I don't think he ever did.
No, he
this
did.
Is the game I wish
he did.
Did he?
Deadly Towers.
Okay, I need to go back and watch
that video because it's funny.
I remember this was the worst game, and nothing has ever topped it as being the worst game.
The main character was like a Blue Knight type of guy, right?
Yeah, and the controls were like super stiff, but there was so many enemies on screen attacking you, and you could do nothing. It was garbage. I don't know if my brother bought this game. So growing up, my brother had the NES, my oldest brother, but he worked at a video rental store, so he would just come home on the weekend with like 10 games, and I just play whatever he had
rentals.
Brought home. So I don't know if he bought this game or if he just brought it home from work one day. I hope he just brought it home, because no one needs to buy this thing.
Video rentals. Now, I grew up when you would go and rent a video game and hope it was good. Because back then, if you just bought a game, you better hope that game was good.
Yeah, because you're going to be playing that game for a year.
Yeah, because nothing else. Exactly. And, nowadays, I know you can rent them from, like, Redbox, because there's no more video rental or video game rental places much, I don't think.
Or just rental anything.
GameFly, I think, maybe still exists. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, GameFly is right.
But, like, some games, like, I wish I had rented before I bought. I'll have buyer's remorse. So, I have one more... I have one more question for us that I just thought up on the spot.
Okay.
Because you mentioned your video game art books, and I also collect them, too. I love a good video game art book. So for the last question is, since we both collect video game art books, what is your favorite in your collection of your video game art books?
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to look at my shelf.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll answer while you're doing that. So I have a bunch, and they're mainly from RPGs, of course. And a lot of them are also strategy guides, because, remember strategy guides when they would have cool art in it that you couldn't find anywhere else? Before they just became all just kind of text with just gameplay images. So I love a good strategy guide with good art, and I love a good art book. But my favorite, and it took me a while to hunt down, was the Grandia 2 World Guidance book. I still have it. It's my favorite art book in my collection. I love the thing. I will never part with that thing. Because Grandia 2 is another one of my favorite games of all time. The music, the characters, everything is great. I still want that port. I want the port. I bought the Grandia 2 Anniversary Edition. And I hope that it does well enough that they'll port it to PS4. PS4, Xbox One. I don't care. But I want it on PS4 so I can play it, because it's a great RPG, and I think people need to be reminded of past games that maybe they never played, because the Dreamcast sadly failed, even though it was a great system. Hell, one of the best fighting games is on that. Project Justice. It was a great game. I had it. Don't know where it is now, but
Project Justice.
Yeah, Rival Schools Project.
Was that a Capcom?
Yeah, Rival Schools Project Justice. That was a great game. Burning Batsu! But yeah, my Grandia 2 World Guidance book is my favorite in my collection of art books. Second probably would be the Hyrule Historia. that has a lot of good art from the series.
Oh yeah.
And I'm glad that they released that thing, because that thing was like necessary when they finally explained the timelines. But yeah, that's me. Did you figure out what yours was? Are you still scouring?
I don't know if now I'm just going through my art books.
Okay, well, I mean, if you want...
So, a lot of the art books that I have are imported from Japan.
Of course.
So I can't really read them.
That's how we got them somehow. That's the only way we got them somehow. I think my Grande 2 World Guidance was imported because that was the only way to get it.
So, I don't know. I'm guessing this is a limited edition.
Oh.
Because it's got... so, I am holding the Art of Metal Gear Solid by Yoji Shinkawa.
Oh, yeah?
And it came in like a cellophane wrap here.
I hear it.
And on this wrapper is a silver sticker with the numbers 0005213. So I'm guessing of the limited edition, this is the number of the book. I have a bunch of Capcom books. I have probably 10 different ones. But I love Yoji Shinkawa's artwork, and so this is... I guess it says The Art of Metal Gear Solid by Yoji Shinkawa. So I'm assuming he put this book together. Or the entire book is his artwork from Metal Gear Solid. So the way that he works is, I guess it's like brush and ink. And then he sort of puts watercolor over it.
Yeah. Those Metal Gear Solid, box arts are really good. When it's that, when it's the half paint, half watercolor.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get you on that.
So it's basically, how many pages is this? Does it even say? Yeah, I mean, I can't really. It's not a hardcover. It's a softcover book, but it's got like a plastic sleeve over it. It's pretty.
If
fancy.
I find an image of it, I will put it up.
Oh my
right
god,
now.
there's like a pinup of.
I will
arrow
put it.
Here.
If you know what, you should probably send me a picture of that, and I could try to find it, or I'll just put up the image while you're talking about it. Like, this is your picture.
Yeah. There's the opening cover. There's a pinup of Meryl. It's like a 3-page fold out. It's pretty cool.
That's cool. So that would be your favorite?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this is my favorite. But I'm like I was talking about Atari. One of the things that stands out in my mind is the cover art for the Atari cartridges and the box art for those games. Because, I mean, the graphics were so rudimentary back then. They could be interpreted a myriad of ways. And the art for all the Atari 2600 games are amazing. They are some of the most iconic to me.
Yeah.
Video
they had
game
to sell
art.
you on that.
There is a...
You had to have a good box art for that.
There is an art book coming out, which is entirely Atari 2600 covers. I have it on pre-order at Amazon. I'm so looking forward to it. I cannot wait till it arrives. Yeah, I'm gonna say my favorite art book right now is The Art of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you that one that I got of Metal Gear Solid 4 if you don't have it, as my gift to you. Because, cool. Like I said, to me, Metal Gear Solid 4 is like the last good one. Because Konami is dead. Konami is dead. I will say that here. Konami is dead to the world because of just their decisions.
Well, Konami is dead, but Metal Gear Solid, well, V. I'll say V.
It's okay, but I will say
that was a great.
I will say it ended at 4. Game. You can end it at 4 and be satisfied.
Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah, don't spoil it. But yeah, don't spoil it. So, I think we've gone on for a good chunk. I think we can end it right here. But in the future segments of the Level Grindcast, we will definitely have where we'll talk about what we're doing recently, if we're working on any projects, what's going on with the channel, what's going on with us, and also we'll delve into some gaming news because there's
like what we're playing and what's going on in the industry.
Yeah, well, stuff that interests us. Like, I can tell you one thing right now, because I was talking about Chrono Trigger. I am looking forward to I Am Setsuna. That comes out next month. I hope, because I haven't seen a pre-order for it anywhere, but it's very heavily inspired, the battle system at least, by Chrono Trigger, and it looks cool, and I really, really, really want to play it. So I'm constantly looking for more info on that game. Of course, there's a lot more games coming out this month that I'm looking forward to, but we'll get to that in the next video. In
the next episode.
Yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed. So the inaugural episode of the LevelGrindCast. I really want to do this. If we could do this every week, that'd be cool. But if every 2 weeks would be better, I don't know. It depends on our schedules, if you're able to record or not. Mm-hmm. But I definitely want to do this at least twice a month, just to let everyone know like what we're up to and get to know us a little bit more. More questions. So if you want to get a hold of me, of course, I would love it if you would visit LevelGrind on YouTube. You can leave comments, you can subscribe. But if you want to get in contact with me, Al0, you can go to my Twitter at Al_083. And of course, you can find me on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Al083. And you can find me in the Feed Me Pixel community too. But other than that, if you get a hold of me on Twitter, I will respond 80% of the time. And also for future LevelGrindCast, if you want to ask us a question that we can answer, you can always send it to my Twitter, and we will read some on the next episodes that we do. So if you'd like to do that, just please contact me on Twitter, and 80% of the time I will get back to you
instantly.
Pretty much, because my phone is always next to me, in which I could always just respond. But Greg, would you like to let us know how we can get in contact with you or see some of your stuff?
So if you want to see my artwork, my website is sabercreations.com. SABER on Saber. But if you wanted to follow me or ask me anything via Twitter, at Pixelated Soul on Twitter. And that's also my tag for Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm not as devoted a YouTuber as Al0, but I do have some cool stuff up there. I'm mostly a Twitch streamer, if anything, as far as video production goes. So I try to stream on the weekends mainly. I don't have a set schedule. It's just whenever I feel like streaming, I'll just go ahead and do that. But yeah, Pixelated Soul on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. But I rarely post there.
So that's where you can find him. By the way, if you didn't know, both Pixelated Soul and myself came up with the idea for the new channel logo. I did the concept art, and then he executed it to what it is now, and it looks awesome. And
thank you.
And hopefully, I want to get some newer art for the channel, but we'll discuss that later. And of course, the LPs will continue on. Currently playing Valkyria Chronicles. Super Time Force Ultra will finish up this week. And also Odin Sphere will continue on because that game is so good. You need to get your copy soon, bro.
Well, it's not up to me.
Yeah, I'm really sorry that you have to wait so long. That's very unfortunate.
Shipping to Hawaii.
We need to get Amazon to ship faster to people in Hawaii. For anyone viewing or listening to this who are in Hawaii, we feel your pain. But yeah, I think this is a great first episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to us, and I hope you look forward to future LevelGrindCast videos. So thank you guys. I will see you guys later.
Goodbye.
For now.